skips back to Matt Cross, hitting the dirt in front of the plate for ball 2. Count now 2-1. Two balls, one strike. Got the YouTube feed back up and running for you folks. Swing and a miss, and the count is now 2-2. Two balls, two strikes. Lee at first, one out. Jammers up 1-0. Top of the 7th. Nate Grant's break-even pitch is low, ball 3. Full count now on Jewell. Matt Jewell on the night walked back in the 3rd, then grounded out to O'Donnell in the 5th. 3-2 the count on him here. Nate Grant, the lefty out of the bullpen, replacing Quinn Taylor, misses well outside. Ball 4 on the payoff pitch. Moves Lee up to second, tying run at second base. And second baseman Chris Scarmo will step to the plate. Scarmo reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd, made it to second but was stranded there, walked in the 5th, and was caught stealing to end the inning. Big situation here, and that brought Hayden Carter out of the Jammers dugout to go out and have a conversation with Nate Grant and Matt Cross. Home plate umpire Tim Adams took a peek down at the Jammers bullpen to see what was going on down there, and eventually chases everybody back to their appropriate positions. Cross behind the plate, Carter back to the dugout. There is activity in that Jammers pen. Corey Blessing throwing at the moment. Chris Scarmo at the plate. 2 on, 1 out. Estrada comes up even with the bag at 3rd, keeps creeping in, and Scarmo showed no intention of bunting, and he took ball 1. One ball, no strikes. Popped up. Ben Brookover running hard down the right field line, catches it in foul territory, tagging at second and moving up to 3rd. Alert play by Evan Lee.
Back up the back of the Blue Sox, the right fielder number 12, Kyle Norman.
2 out now. Back up to the top of the order, and Kyle Norman. And Anthony Barone out of the dugout to make a pitching change.
Kids, this is your last call if you'd like to participate in our massive 7-inning stretch limbo. Come and meet us down by the 3rd base gate, and we will limbo during our 7-inning stretch tonight.
So Nate Grant's night is done as he gets in a full inning of work. And enter Corey Blessing. So far, no runs for Nate Grant, but responsible for the runners on base. Corey Blessing into the game.
Ohio University number 5, Corey Blessing.
Corey's season so far with the Jamestown Jammers. He's 3-0 with a 2.17 ERA. This is 8th game. He has started 5. He's thrown 29 innings. Given up 9 runs, only 7 earned on 21 hits. Walked 12, struck out 18. 125 batters faced him, and they're just averaging 189 with Corey Blessing on the hill. And of course, we need a little lights-out kind of performance from Corey Blessing here to send the Blue Sox back out on the field and keep that 1-0 lead intact. Corey continuing his warm-up tosses. If you haven't seen Corey before, he has that catapult kind of motion when he pitches. It's very effective. and has made him a key performer for the Jamestown Jammers in both 2016 and 2017. Runners at the corners, 2 out, and before Corey starts, he calls Matt Cross out to go through the signs again. And of course, Corey taking care because he knows the Utica Blue Sox brought a lip reader with him to Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park, so he covered his mouth so the lip reader down there in the first base bleachers could not see what he was saying to Matt Cross. So all the secrets are safe. Kyle Norman's at the plate with 2 out. Runners at the corners. Norman's been on base 2 times via the walk, struck out swinging back in the first, and the first pitch to him inside in the dirt. Ball 1. Kyle Norman against right-handed pitching is averaging .282. He hits .368 when lefties are out there. Great move by Anthony Barone here. The 1-0 pitch. Line drive past Alex O'Donnell into left field, scoring Evan Lee and tying the game at 1. Not much you could do with it. That's a great piece of hitting. RBI single off the bat of Kyle Norman. 1-1. And it brings up Matt McDermott with runners at first and second now and 2 out. McDermott on the night is 1 for 2. Singled back in the first, was caught stealing. Fouls the pitch off. Strike 1. Caught stealing for the final out of the first, by the way. That was the old strike him out, throw him out double play. Grounded out to Chris Estrada, final out of the third. Sacrifice bunt for him in the sixth. 1 for 2. 0-1 the count on him. Runner at second base, Jewell. And down at first, it's Norman. 0-1 the count. Corey's 0-1 pitch. High outside, counts even at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Matt McDermott hitting .267 against righties. He is a right-handed hitter, and the next pitch is high and outside, ball 2, and the count now 2-1. Ball's taken out to home plate umpire Tim Adams while Matt Cross goes out to talk to Corey Blessing, try to get him calmed down a little bit. Corey came in out of the pen and yielded the single to Kyle Norman, which allowed the tying run to score. 2-1 the count. Corey steps off the rubber as he was getting set and calls Matt Cross out again. Well, if it is kind of chilly down on the field, Matt Cross is not having a problem because he's made quite a few trips out to talk to Corey Blessing so far. 2-1 count, 2 out, 2 on. Tied at 1, bottom of the 7th, or make that top of the 7th. And the 2-1 pitch from Corey Blessing, high, ball 3. So unusually, Corey comes in out of the bullpen and not having a lot of success finding the strike zone. Behind 3-1 to McDermott. 3-1 pitch. Misses outside low, ball 4, bases loaded, and 2 out. And it brings up Taylor Olmstead.
Out the bat, the left fielder, number 20, Taylor Olmstead.
Olmstead at the plate is 0 for 3. Struck out swinging back in the first, grounded out to Estrada in the fourth, and hit this little dying quail that Alex O'Donnell was able to catch before it hit the ground 1 inning ago. High, heat, and outside 2, ball 1 to Olmstead. And the natives are restless at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park. Tie ball game. Corey needs to get Taylor Olmsted here. 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss on the off-speed delivery, and the count evens up at 1-1. One ball, one strike. 1-1 pitch, a cut and a miss by Taylor Olmsted. Strike two, and the count 1-2. And the fans, not so restless, rallying behind Corey Blessing to try to get this final out here in the top half of the seventh. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Blessing's pitch. Popped up. Matt Cross looks up, and that's going to hit on the roof of the home plate grandstand and ends up rolling out into the concourse area. Count still 1-2 on Taylor Olmsted, so all the drama of that last pitch can now repeat. Still 1-2 count. 2 out. Corey Blessing with a 1-2 pitch. In the dirt in front of the plate, squirts behind Matt Cross, not far enough for anyone to do anything. Matt Jewell saw exactly where the ball went, so he stayed put at third. And the count goes to 2-2 on Taylor Olmsted. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bases loaded, 2 out. Tie game, tied at 1. The pitch. Misses outside and low, ball 3, and the count's full on Olmsted. Corey Blessing has inched closer to walking in the go-ahead run. Something you would not expect when you say the name Corey Blessing. Full count. 2 out, bases loaded. Corey Blessing's payoff pitch. Swing and a foul tip. Hitting at the feet of Matt Cross, so let's reset and do everything over. Once again, all the drama of that last pitch can now be repeated. Taylor Olmsted, right-handed hitting left fielder. Went 1 for 4 against us in the game at Utica. 3-2 count on him here with the bases loaded and 2 out. Corey Blessing taking a long time, too much for Olmsted. He calls for time and steps out. Tim Adams, of course, granting that time. Three balls, 2 strikes. Blessing's payoff pitch again. Outside, ball 4, and Corey walks in the go-ahead run. Picking up the RBI by walking is Taylor Olmsted. Matt Jewell comes in to score. Norman now at third. McDermott at second. Olmsted down at first. Anthony Barone is going to make a pitching change. Corey Blessing, probably his most disappointing outing of the year. Make that Colin Johnston. Colin Johnston comes in with the bases loaded and 2 out, and Utica leading by a score of 2-1. So I'll give you the limited numbers that we have for Corey Blessing.
Now pitching for your Jammers from Monroe Community College, number 18, Colin Johnston.
So, like Corey Blessing was in 2016 for the Jammers, Colin Johnston has kind of been that guy for the Jammers in 2017. Blessing comes in. 8 total pitches by Corey. 3 strikes, 5 balls.
Become a subscriber tonight. The Post-Journal is proud to be the official print media provider for your Jamestown Jammers.
Enter Colin Johnston. Colin on the season for Anthony Barone's Jammers. Get his numbers for you here in a second.
Once again, up to bat for the Blue Sox, the center fielder number 10, Devin Garcia.
Center fielder Devin Garcia will be the first Blue Sox to face Colin Johnston. Comes into the game with a 1-2 record, a 1.23 ERA, now making his 18th appearance, tying Connor Ryan. And the first pitch is inside off the tip of the catcher's mitt. A Matt Cross all the way to the, allowing another run to come in. Utica 3, Jammers 1. And ball 1 to Devin Garcia. McDermott now at third, Olmstead at second, and the 1-0 pitch to Garcia is fouled back, and the count evens at 1. What a revolting development here in the top half of the 7th inning. Nate Grant had started things out, retiring Mendick. Gave up a single to Lee and a walk to Jewell. He tried to check his swing, but he went around. And the count now 1-2 on Devin Garcia. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Johnston trying to bring the inning to an end, and a swing and a foul right at his feet off the bat of Devin Garcia. Count remains 1-2. A 1-0 game is a tough thing to hold on to and make it complete, and the Jammers just found that out in a big way as Utica puts up a crooked number here. In the 7th, line drive left field on his horse, Standahar going back. He's not able to get it. It hits up against the base of the wall. 2 runs are in. It's a bases clearing double off the bat of Devin Garcia, and Utica has taken a 5-1 lead.
Now to bat, the DH number 39, Zane Harris.
McDermott and Olmstead both come in to score, and it's 5-1. 9th batter to the plate in the inning is Zane Harris, with a runner at second in Garcia and 2 out. There's been 2 out forever. We just haven't been able to get that final one. Harris on the night is 1 for 3. Fly ball out to Valentine in the 2nd, singled in the 4th, called out on strikes in the 6th. 0-1 the count to him here. Colin Johnston's 0-1 pitch, cut and a miss, strike 2. 0-2 the count. Well, once again, a 5-run inning against the Jammers. It happened last night. That, though, was on starter Michael Ginther. This has been now the culmination of 3 pitchers. Nate Grant started the inning. Corey Blessing came in relief. And now Colin Johnston out there. Next pitch to Harris missed, and the count 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Johnston's pitch fouled back off the facade of the press box. Count still 1-2 on Zane Harris, the big left-handed hitter. Mentioned earlier in the game, an imposing figure at the plate at 6'5", 270 out of Mansfield, Ohio. Trying to keep the inning going for the Blue Sox here in the top of the 7th. They have already scored 5. Ground ball in the hole between second and first. Knocked down by Markey. Gets up, throws, and he will not get him, and the throw is wide. Pass Brookover all the way to the home plate backstop. Coming in to score is Devin Garcia. It's 6-1 Utica. And at second base, it's Zane Harris. Harris with the single and the RBI, and move him up to second base on the throw by Ryan Markey to first. And at the plate, the guy that started it all, Jimmy Mendick, who hit one back to Nate Grant, deflected off his glove, and Alex O'Donnell finished that put out. A weak grounder down the third baseline. Johnston is off the mound, fields it, and a quick Jimmy Mendick makes him think twice about throwing. Give Mendick an infield single. Well played by Johnston to try to limit the damage by not making the throw. He didn't really have a chance at Mendick, and Zane Harris moves up to third. Weak grounder out in front of the plate this time. Cross out from behind the plate. Does not have a play on Evan Lee. Another dribbler infield single, and RBI for Evan Lee. And Utica leads the game 7-1. Mendick up to second base. Lee with the infield dribbler single down at first. An amazing 7-run inning for the Utica Blue Sox to lead this now 7-1. We are in, coincidentally, the 7th inning, top half of it. At the plate, Matt Jewell, the 12th batter to come to the plate here in the top of the 7th, and the first pitch to him is in the dirt, ball one. 1 ball, no strikes. Like I said before, we've had 2 outs forever. Scarmo made the second out of the inning, and he's on deck. High outside, ball 2, the count 2-0. Scarmo made the second out of the inning when he popped up in foul territory, that is, and caught by Ben Brookover. That was called a ball, and I'm not quite sure where it was. Because taking all the things into consideration where I am and the height and everything, that still looked pretty darn good to me up here. But it's ball 3. I'm not the umpire. 3-0 the count. Johnston's pitch. Outside corner, 3-1 the count. Bronx cheer goes out of the home plate grandstand, directed at Tim Adams. Three balls, 1 strike in the pitch. Ground ball snagged by Colin Johnston. Throws to Ben Brookover, and finally the bloodshed has stopped. Wow, what an inning for the Utica Blue Sox. They score 7 runs, 6 hits. The Jammers commit a throwing error, and there are 2 runners left on base. The score at the end of 6 1/2, Blue Sox 7, Jammers 1 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live united. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
That, my friends, was an ugly inning for the Jammers. 7 runs across for the Blue Sox on 6 hits. 9-1-2 for the Jammers in the bottom of the 7th, trailing by 6 runs. Riley Moore, the starter for the Utica Blue Sox, had enough time to order and consume a prime rib, so he's all energized and back out on the mound. Ryan Markey, the first batter he will face. Ryan squares the bunt, pitches too high, it's ball 1. Ryan grounded out a couple of times to Jimmy Mendick at third base. He now has Mendick's attention after squaring the bunt. The next pitch from Riley Moore misses outside, ball 2, the count 2-0. .20 pitch is high, ball 3. Count 3-0. Jammers have had some crazy innings throughout the course of the season, too, most notably at Newark. 3-0 pitch, ball 4. Walked him on 4 straight. And I'm sure Moore is not happy with that call. You can tell by the way he walked down the mound, snapped the ball out of the air, and I don't know, it looked like he almost said something toward home plate.
Number 6, John Conte.
Apparently either Adams didn't hear it or didn't care. John Conte will step up. Markey at first, nobody out, and the old frustration, I'm mad because of the way that at-bat went, and he just wheels the ball, and it's way high and outside. Ball 1 to John Conte. That pitch is right in there, and the count is even at 1. You just got to let that stuff go. It's one of the big things that Hayden Carter tries to stress to all of the pitchers on the Jamestown staff. Conte's been on base once tonight when he walked back in the 3rd. Otherwise grounded out to the first baseman Lee and then called out on strikes in the 5th. Next pitch to him missed, and the count 2-1. Righty Riley Moore, taking his time, has a look over at Ryan Markey at first. 2-1 pitch is low, ball 3. 3-1 the count. And I'm sure he's not too thrilled about that call either. 3 balls, 1 strike. Moore has a look over to the runner at first, Markey. The pitch. High and off the tip of the catcher's mitt of Matt Jewell. Markey at second, Conte at first. And it brings up Jimmy Standahar.
The back, the left fielder, number 29, Jimmy Standahar.
And a trip to the mound. I believe that is Doug Dillette that went out there. Having a lengthy talk, maybe re-emphasizing, hey, you know, when you don't like the calls in an at-bat, let it go. As I said, you would think that with that amount of time off there, with the Blue Sox scoring 7 in the top half of this inning, that Riley Moore would be energized and ready to go, and maybe he's just energized a little bit too much. Markey at second, Conte at first, Jimmy Standahar at the plate.
Perfect timing.
Jimmy walked back in the 5th, reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd, and grounded out to Moore for the second out of the 1st. Pitch to him, right in there, strike 1 called. First baseman Lee was in on the grass. Something he can do. Normally he'd be holding Conti on. Squaring to bunt and bunting it foul. Down the third base line is Standahar. Strike 2. 0-2 the count. OD pops out of the Jammers dugout and retrieves that one. Home plate umpire Tim Adams asks for 2 baseballs. 0-2 the count. Riley Moore on the hill. 7-1 Utica leads. This one's in the hole between short and third and into left field. And of course Taylor Olmsted charging in. There's no chance Anthony Barone would try to send Ryan Markey. 3 on.
Now up to bat, the first baseman number 30.
The sacks are jammed. Markey at third, Conti at second, Standahar at first, and Ben Brookover at the plate. Now this would be a crazy thing to think about. If you're Ben Brookover, you're just looking for a good at-bat here. You're down 6. Ben could hit one out, but that would not be my approach in this at-bat. First pitch misses low, ball 1. Ben on the night is 0 for 2 against Moore, grounding out the short for the final out of the first, walked in the third, struck out swinging for the second out of the fifth. 1-0 the count. 1-0 pitch is in the dirt, ball 2. 2-0 the count. Try to pick up a number for who is loosening down there in the Blue Sox bullpen. Two balls, no strikes. Moore's 2-0 pitch. Brookover foul tips it into the glove of Matt Jewell. The count now 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike. 7 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Blue Sox. 1 run, 4 hits, and an error for the Jammers. This one's fouled off over the top of the first base bleachers, and the count's now even at 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Jammers have 3 innings to try to claw their way back into this, needing 6 runs just to tie now. 2-2 count. Riley Moore's break-even pitch lofted in the air down the right field line in foul territory. As a matter of fact, into the bullpen and caught by the pitcher who is warming at the moment for the Blue Sox. Count still 2-2. Markey started the inning with a walk. Conti followed with a walk. Standahar singled. Bases loaded, the pitch. Ben Brookover gets tied up over the inside corner. Strike 3 called. He is the first out here for the Jammers in their half of the 7th.
Now up the bat, the DH number 17, Chris Conley.
Chris Conley will step to the plate as he returned to the Jammers lineup tonight. He is 0 for 2. Walked back in the second. Grounded out, fielded by pitcher Riley Moore for the final out back in the third when it looked like the Jammers might be able to get one in. And then grounded out to the second baseman, Chris Scarmo, for the final out of the fifth. First pitch to him a strike, and the count 0-1. The 0-1 pitch over the inside corner and called strike 2. Count no balls, 2 strikes on Chris Conley. Bases loaded with Markey at third, Conti at second, and Standahar at first. We're in the bottom of the 7th, 7-1 Utica leads. Here's a chopper. Evan Lee comes in, fields, throws, and it was ruled a foul ball. Hit in the batter's box by Chris Conley, and the count remains 0-2. Well, everybody got a little rehearsal there in case he does chop one down to first base. Lee was going to come to the plate when he fielded that. Tim Adams apparently forgot his little whisk broom. Walked back over home plate and kicked it to get the dirt off of it. Everybody's reset, and unusually the wind continues to blow here well into the post-sunset hours. Normally here calms down after the sun sets. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Chris Conley is the second out of the inning. Brookover called third strike. Conley swinging third strike, and Skylar Valentine will step up.
Now up the bat, the center fielder, number 2, Skylar Valentine.
Hottest jammer of the night. He's 2 for 3, and he scored back in the 4th. Our lone run. First pitch to him, he fouls it off. In the batter's box, strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. Jammers loaded the bases with nobody out, and now with 2 out, they remain loaded. That pitch is outside in the dirt, and the count now 1-1. Skylar digs a trench back there at the back line of the batter's box. Does that little thing that, if you're a Pirates fan, you've seen Josh Harrison hit the toes of his cleats, one after the other. 1-1 the count. The pitch by Moore, outside. Oh, on the corner apparently, and apparently high enough to get called strike 2. So whatever problem Riley Moore had with Tim Adams back at the beginning of the inning, he can forget that because he just got a very generous call to make the count 1-2. Skylar stepped out, looked at Anthony Barone. He doesn't have anything for him. Whatever the get a hit sign is. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the pitch by Moore. Misses outside low, and that looked exactly to be in the same spot where the last one was called strike 2, but it's ball 2 this time, and the count's even. Two balls, 2 strikes. Bases loaded, 2 out, 7-1, Utica leads. Riley Moore, the starter in tonight's game, steps off the rubber and quickly back on. Valentine remains in the box through that. 2-2 count. Big gust of wind coming through the press box there, and he takes too long. Valentine wants time, and he does step out now. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out the pitch. And he went around. Skylar tried to check his swing, but he went around, and Riley Moore, after loading the bases, strikes out the side. 1 a called third strike, and 2 strikeouts swinging for the Jammers. No runs, a hit. No errors by the Blue Sox. And yes, the bases were left loaded. The score at the end of 7, Utica 7, Jammers 1 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hey everybody, Rachel Ray here. Nothing puts a bigger smile on my face than cooking up a big meal for family and friends. But there's not enough room at my table for the 17 million kids in America who are struggling with hunger. These children, that's 1 out of every 5, often have to skip meals because there's just nothing to eat in the kitchen. Yet there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last hungry child. If only there was a way to get it to them. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across our country. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America at your local food bank and at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
everyone saw Jake Gilhouse last night and liked him so much he decided to come back out and pitch again. No, actually, Anthony Barone decided to bring him in, but nonetheless, we did see him last night against Elmira, and we'll see him again tonight against the Utica Blue Sox. As Jake Gilhouse comes in with a record of 0-1, his 10th appearance, 12 innings pitched so far, has given up 6 runs, 5 earned on 10 hits, walked 6, struck out 6. Opponents averaging .238 with Jake Gilhouse on the hill. And the last pitcher for the Jammers was Colin Johnston. Colin went a third of an inning. And was not effective. And so Anthony Barone decides to make the change. 25 total pitches for Johnston in the strike zone, 16-9 strikes to balls ratio, but yielding some runs to these Utica Blue Sox. Chris Scarmo, the second baseman at the plate, and the first pitch to him is high, ball 1. Scarmo is 0 for 1 tonight. Hits a line drive towards center field. Valentine started in, stopped, started in again, made the catch. First out for the Sox in their half of the 8th. That'll bring up the leadoff batter in the Blue Sox lineup, Kyle Norman. Norman at the plate technically for a 6th trip, but the 5th one doesn't count. He was at the plate when runner was caught stealing. Scarmo got gunned down. And the first pitch to Norman is ball 1. Otherwise, Mr. Norman's 1 for 2. Walked a couple of times. RBI single back in the 7th. And a strikeout swinging in the 1st. And Anthony Barone calls time and makes his way out to the mound to talk to Jake Gilhouse. Kyle Norman patiently waits just outside the batter's box. I think the message was throw strikes. (1-0) the count on Norman. 1 out, nobody aboard. Top of the 8th, 7-1 that is. Utica leads. The 1-0 pitch. Over the outside corner, counts even at 1. Shortstop Matt McDermott on deck. 1-1 pitch by Gilhouse. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Count now 1-2. Jake Gilhouse from Bloomington, Illinois, attending Kalamazoo. Will be heading into his sophomore season this fall. 1-2 pitch, fouled back to the home plate grandstand. Count still 1-2 on Kyle Norman. Gilhouse, 6'1", 210. 1-2 pitch. Line drive, center field base hit off the bat of Kyle Norman. And he reaches again. It'll bring up Matt McDermott.
Now to bat the shortstop number 21, Matthew McDermott.
McDermott stepping to the plate with a runner at first, Norman. Matt on the night is 1 for 2. Also reached on a walk and scored in the 7th. Sacrifice bunt back in the 6th. And that foul ball rattled off the light standard and almost caught Ben Brookover in the head. 0-1 the count on McDermott. There goes the runner down to second, and he steals it. Ryan Markey tried to reach back to catch the ball, and I don't know if he was caught by the spikes of Kyle Norman on the way by, but he stayed down on the field for a while, maybe just allowing John Conti, who came in to clean up, a free pass to throw to third. Bottom line is Norman steals second and moves on to third. This one's fouled back. Norman at third, McDermott at the plate. And the count now 1-2 on McDermott. One out. Jake Gilhouse trying to keep this a 6-run differential. Utica 7, Jamestown 1. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Off-speed pitch and a swing and a miss by McDermott. He is out number 2. Taylor Olmstead, the left fielder, steps up. Olmstead on the night is 0 for 3, but in his last plate appearance, he walked and drove in a run and scored. That was 1 inning ago back in the 7th. Ground ball toward the shortstop. O'Donnell's up with it, throws to Brookover, and they just do get Olmstead as he was flying down the line, but they get him. And they keep the Blue Sox off the scoreboard. No runs, a hit, no jammers, errors, and 1 runner left on base. We've completed 7.5 to score. Utica 7, Jamestown 1 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Back at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park, Jammers have 2 more chances against these Utica Blue Sox. Riley Moore continuing on, starting the bottom half of the 8th inning. O'Donnell, Estrada, and Cross due to face him. OD at the plate, and the first pitch by Moore squares to bunt, pulls back and watches. Strike 1. No balls and 1 strike to OD. OD is 1 for 3 in the night, although he's been on base 3 times in the 2nd, 4th, and 6th. In the 2nd and 6th, he reached on a fielder's choice, and Moore's next pitch catches the outside corner, and he's ahead of OD 0-2. OD in the previous game against Utica went 2 for 3 and scored 2 runs, drove in 5. He had himself a night, did he not? 0-2 pitch. Chopped down to the third baseman, short hop by Jimmy Mendick, throws to Evan Lee, retiring Alex O'Donnell for the first out in the Jammers half of the 8th.
Now up the bat, the third baseman, number 16, Chris Estrada.
Nobody aboard, 1 out. Bottom of the 8th, 7-1, Utica with the lead. Jammers on the road tomorrow night against Geneva. Make plans to gather up the kids and come join us on a Kids Day Sunday, 3:05 start against Adirondack here at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park. First pitch to Estrada, a ball. 1-0 the count. 1-0 pitch popped up. Shallow left, coming in is Olmstead. Near the line, makes the catch. And it's a 2-up, 2-down inning so far for Riley Moore, getting closer to having himself a complete game.
The catcher, number 21, Matt Cross.
It'll bring up Matt Cross with nobody aboard and 2 out. Matt grounded out to Jimmy Mendick back in the 2nd, reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th, and then called out on strikes in the 6th for the final out of that inning. First pitch, chopped foul down the 3rd line. Mendick came in and fielded it and fouled. Riley Moore, to this point in the game, 7 2/3 innings pitched. According to my count, has thrown 147 pitches, 80 strikes, 67 balls. Pitch over the inside corner, strike 2. He's like past his 2nd wind and on to his 3rd. Unheard of in baseball today that a pitcher would go out on the mound, to this point 148 pitches thrown. 0-2 the count. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Dropped by the catcher Jewell. Pops out from behind the plate. Throws to Evan Lee to retain the score. Utica 7, Jammers 1 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Pennswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back at Russell Lee Dietrich Jr. Park in Jamestown, 7-1, Utica leads, 7 runs, 9 hits, no errors, 1 run, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Jammers. Jake Gilhouse did manage to keep the Sox off the board in the 8th, so he's rewarded with another inning of work as he goes out to start the 9th inning. He'll face the middle third of the Blue Sox batting order, Devin Garcia, Zane Harris, and Jimmy Mendick.
Leading off at the top of the 9th for the Blue Sox, the center fielder number 10, Devin Garcia.
Devin Garcia will be the first batter to face Jake Gilhouse here in the top of the 9th inning. 2 RBIs on a double he hit back in the 7th when Utica scored 7, and the first pitch to him is over the outside corner, strike 1. Garcia, with that double, 1 for 3 in the night. He was also on board when he walked in the 6th. 0-1 count. Jake Gilhouse's 0-1 pitch. Misses outside, and the count's even at 1. Matt Cross was somewhat of an attempt to frame that. I just say somewhat of an attempt. Not his best effort. 1-1 pitch. A little bit better effort, and guess what? Tim Adams was buying what Matt Cross was selling, and the count's 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Gilhouse's pitch. He went through on the check swing, and ball dropped by Matt Cross and tags him right where he stands. 1 gone in the Blue Sox half of the 9th.
Now at the bat, the DH number 39, Zane Harris.
And it brings up DH Zane Harris.
Nice.
Harris, part of the free-swinging 7th for the Blue Sox when they scored 7. As he singled and came around to score. Hit one in the hole between Markey and Brookover. Pops this one up and out of play, and the count's even at 1. On that play, Ryan was able to get into shallow right field and knock that one down, got up and tried to throw and threw it away. That allowed Harris to get up to second base. Harris also singled in the 4th, fly ball out in the 2nd, and a called 3rd strike in the 6th. And the 1-1 pitch to Harris is ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nobody aboard, 1 out. Top of the 9th, Jammers trail 7-1. Jake Gilhouse with a 2-1 pitch right down the pipe, taken by Harris, and strike 2 called. Counts even at 2. Third baseman Jimmy Mendick is on deck. Harris with the 2-2 pitch coming from Gilhouse over the outside corner. Strike 3 called. 2 up, 2 down. And here is Jimmy Mendick. Mendick on the night is 1 for 4.
Now up the back of third baseman number 7, Jimmy Mendick.
Mendick grounded out to O'Donnell for the final out of the 2nd. Fly ball out to Conti in the 4th. And he pops this one up. He's 1 for 4, by the way. Ryan Markey's going to make it 1 for 5 as he catches the pop-up off the bat of Jimmy Mendick to retire the Blue Sox here in the top of the 9th. No runs, hits, no Jammers errors, and nobody left on base. Last dibs for the Jamestown Jammers heading to the 9th, trailing by 6. Utica 7, Jammers 1, right here on the Jammers Baseball Network.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. So, who's going to do what? Flashlights?
Nowhere to be found.
Batteries?
Dead.
Great. Emergency supply kits?
Not packed.
What about blankets?
We have an old towel.
Good enough. Cell phones?
May not work.
Emergency water?
Not a drop.
And what about food?
Nope.
Perfect. We all know where we're meeting if we're separated, yeah?
The library. Aunt Joan's house.
The bus stop.
Great. And I'll be waiting here wondering where you all are. Sounds like we don't have a plan. Who's up for mini golf?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
What a game by Riley Moore, pitching an inordinate amount of pitches, as a matter of fact. And he yields to Austin Salnitis.
Leading off in the bottom of the 9th for your Jammers, the second baseman number 20, Ryan Markey.
Ryan Markey leads things off for the Jammers in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Might remember a couple innings ago, he started things when the Jammers loaded the bases with nobody out and nothing happened after that. Believe it or not.
From Central Connecticut State number 6, Austin Salnitis.
Salnitis from Lenox, Massachusetts, attending CCSU. Just finished up his junior campaign there. Counts even at 1 on Ryan Markey. Lefty. Salnitis with the pitch. Grounded down the first baseline. That's foul. Count now 1-2. Let's take a look at Riley Moore's unbelievable night. 8 innings pitched, 35 batters faced. Gave up 1 run, 4 hits. He walked 8 and struck out 7. 149 pitches, 82 strikes, 67 balls. 1-2 the count on Markey, leadoff batter, bottom of the 9th. Salnitis with a 1-2 pitch outside, counts even at 2. Another big gust of wind flying through the press box here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Misses outside. Ball 3 does Salnitis, and the count now 3-2 on Ryan Markey. Markey against left-handed pitching is hitting .250 on the season. 3-2 pitch. Grounded up the middle. Fielded by the shortstop, Matt McDermott. He throws to Evan Lee, retiring Ryan Markey for the first out here in the Jammers half of the ninth.
Back up the bat for your Jammers, the right fielder, number 6, John Conte.
John Conte picks up Ryan Markey's bat and hands it to him as Ryan makes his way back to the dugout. Conte at the plate is 0 for 2. Grounded out to the first baseman Lee back in the first inning. Called out on strikes in the 5th, and he walked a couple of times. First pitch to him's right down the pipe, taken by John, strike 1. Lefty to lefty matchup here between Salnitis and Conte. Next pitch to John is in there, strike 2 called. Counts quickly, no balls, 2 strikes. Conte hitting .394 against lefties. And he's hitting .357 against righties, but he swings and misses there, and that'll drop that batting order down just a little bit. 2 up, 2 down for the Jammers in their half of the ninth. And the last chance for Jamestown tonight will be the bat of Jimmy Standahar. Quinn Taylor with a really good start for the Jammers, and unfortunately in the 7th everything unraveled. The first pitch is over the outside corner to Standahar, strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. 2 out, nobody aboard. Salnitis' pitch is outside low, and the count evens at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jammers at Geneva tomorrow night. 1-1 pitch. Looped down the first base line. Diving catch by Evan Lee. What a play by Evan Lee in foul territory down the first base line. Not hit that high, and Lee with a running grab of the foul ball off the bat of Jimmy Standahar to retire the side. The Jammers go 3 up, 3 down in their half of the ninth. No runs, hits, or errors. Nobody left. The final score of tonight's game, Utica 7 and the Jammers 1. That's going to do it for tonight's game here from Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park. Tomorrow night we will greet you from Geneva. We'll be at McDonough Park to take on the Red Wings, the last regular season road game for the Jammers. You'll be able to catch it here on the Jammers Baseball Network. So for Anthony Barone, Hayden Carter, Scotty James, and the Jamestown Jammers, and the staff here at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park, this is Dave Shannon reminding you the final score tonight, Utica 7, Jammers 1. Until tomorrow night, with the pregame show at about 6:45 here on the Jammers Baseball Network, Dave Shannon saying good night, everybody.